Henry Creel, who later becomes known as Vecna in Stranger Things, started out as a quiet, troubled boy who feels different from everyone around him. Over time, his abilities grow far beyond anything anyone would imagine, and he becomes connected to a dark, otherworldly realm full of strange creatures and living shadows. Henry eventually transforms into a creature called Vecna, a terrifying figure who uses his powers to reach into people's minds, twist their fears, and shape the world around him. His journey is one of a lonely boy becoming something much more sinister. So here in this video, we will take a look at 5 of his different stages, both in biological growth and psychic power development, which will include the new final form he would have in the final season. We will explore his different stages one by one and see how he evolves. Now let's get to it. Henry's early life was marked by loneliness, confusion, and a growing sense that he didn't really fit in anywhere. Born in the late 1940s, he was described as a quiet, sensitive boy who struggled to connect with the other children. Teachers and doctors often said something was deeply wrong with him, which only made Henry feel more isolated. When his family lived in Nevada, Henry wandered into a strange cave system and accidentally encountered something from another dimension, an event that changed him forever. After disappearing for hours and then returning home, he became different. His personality had shifted, and even his blood type had changed. Henry then began seeing strange visions and sensing things other people could not. His parents hoped that moving to Hawkins would help him, but Henry felt the same loneliness until he found comfort in watching spiders. So as Henry grew older, his strange experiences developed into more powerful psychic abilities. He discovered he could move objects with his mind, influence radios, and even reach into the thoughts and emotions of living creatures. These abilities frightened the people around him, and Henry himself didn't always understand or could control them. In some accounts, a mysterious shadow-like presence pushed him to use his powers in harmful ways, such as hurting animals or causing frightening hallucinations. Eventually, his abilities became overwhelming, leading to a tragedy within his family, with everyone dead except him. This drew the attention of Dr. Brenner, who took him into Hawkins National Laboratory and marking the beginning of Henry's transformation from a troubled boy into something else. Now as Subject 001 or just 1, Henry Creel lived under the strict control and supervision of Dr. Martin Brenner, the head scientist at Hawkins Lab, who pretended to be a father figure but treated him more like an experiment. There, Henry was closely watched and tested so that Brenner could understand and copy his psychic abilities. Henry was the first child ever experimented on, and he was marked with a tattoo 001 to show it. At first, Brenner pushed Henry to use his powers in difficult and sometimes frightening ways, such as tracking people from far away or destroying things by just imagining them. But Brenner soon realized Henry was too powerful to control, so he implanted a chip, a small device called the soteria, into Henry's neck to suppress his powers. This device blocked most of Henry's abilities and kept him under control, turning the once powerful boy into something Brenner thought was safe and docile. So as time passed by, other kids or other subjects were inducted into the program. So Henry paid close attention to the others, and especially Subject 11, whom he believed was misunderstood and unfairly treated just as he was. But deep down, Henry was just working to manipulate her and to get his freedom. When he later tricked 11 to removing his soteria chip in his neck, his abilities came rushing back stronger than ever, which showed how powerful he had become. Once free, Henry used his restored powers to attack everyone in the lab, killing everyone. His psychic abilities had grown incredibly strong as he could crush bones, invade minds, and move through the building like a storm. In the end, only Subject 11 could stand up to him, and in that battle, their powers clashed in a huge psychic storm. And even though Henry was strong at first, 11, who was still a small kid and really unexperienced, later tapped into her deep emotions and memories to defeat him. But instead of killing him, she accidentally sent him through a portal into another dimension, into the Upside Down. Now we come to Stage 3. After 11 sent Henry through the gate, he stumbled into a strange place between worlds, where the rules of nature didn't work the way they do on Earth. As he fell, lightning constantly struck him, burning and twisting his body. This painful journey slowly changed Henry into something no longer fully human. At first he thought he was in a kind of punishment or in a purgatory world, But soon he realized that this new realm had no humans, no rules, and no limits. As he explored, he discovered many dangerous creatures, including the Demogorgons. But the most important thing he found was a giant cloud of shadowy dust that acted like a living storm. This strange being connected every creature in the Upside Down like a giant hive mind. Henry then used his psychic abilities to shape the cloud, to form a bond with it, and shape it into the spider-like monster he had imagined since his childhood. Over time, Henry, by connecting his mind to the hive, gained control over the Demogorgons, the vines, the spores, and even the storms of the Upside Down. Once a gate accidentally opened in 1983, Henry, or as he would be known as Vecna, saw this chance. Using the Mind Flayer's power, he sent the Demogorgon into Hawkins, beginning his plan to reach into the human world again. Later, he used his psychic link with Will Byers to spy on the town and control creatures like the Demodogs. When a new Soviet-made gate opened in 1985, Vecna used a leftover piece of the Mind Flayer to create a giant spider-like monster made from melted human bodies. All along, Vecna, or Henry, was the one directing every attack, every creature, and every invasion from the Upside Down. By the time the kids learned of his intentions, Vecna had already spent years growing powerful, way stronger than when he was Henry Creel. Stage 4. Vecna. So when Henry finally connected with the hive mind, the Mind Flayer, the giant shadowy creature made of swirling particles, his transformation became near complete. His nose vanished, his skin hardened into a pale, cracked shell, and one of his hands stretched into a long, claw-like finger. Only small patch of human-looking skin on his chest hinted that he had ever been a boy named Henry. This new monster would eventually be called Vecna by the kids in Hawkins. Vecna's powers grew stronger because the Upside Down itself fed him energy. By plugging himself into the roots and vines that spread across the realm, he could push his mind further than any normal psychic. With the Mind Flayer beside him, Vecna gained control over almost everything living in the Upside Down. Think of it like this. Vecna is an evil, sinister Professor Xavier from the X-Men, and Cerebro, the machine of Professor Xavier, is the Mind Flayer, the hive mind, with the roots and the vines connecting into Vecna to give him more power in order to connect and control all the other creatures in the Upside Down. So with it, he could command Demogorgons, Demodogs, control swarms of flying Demobats, and even sense when someone stepped on a vine anywhere in his territory. Vecna could enter people's minds, find their deepest fears, and trap them in horrifying dreamlike places that he can create. In these visions, he would make them levitate, snap their bones, and destroy them from the inside out. Whenever he killed someone, the burst of psychic energy ripped open a new gate between worlds. Vecna could also absorb memories and thoughts of every victim he had killed, keeping pieces of their minds locked inside his mind palace, a red foggy realm based on his old childhood home. The more he fed, the more powerful he became. He could control objects telekinetically, heal quickly, and spread his influence through a giant hive mind that reached across both the Upside Down and Hawkins. But despite all this, Vecna was defeated in the end of Season 4. 11, Nancy, Steve, Robin, Hopper, Joyce, Murray, and the others all weakened him together. When he attacked Max, 11 entered Max's mind and fought him from the inside. At the same time, the others set his body on fire and shot him with a shotgun, quite a few times. All of these attacks happened all at once, and Vecna was defeated. However, somehow, he escaped before they could finish him off, and he isn't really dead, as you would see. Stage 5. Vecna Prime. So this week we will see the new Vecna, and the beginning of the end of the story of Hawkins and the Upside Down. Season 5 Vecna returns in a new, much more terrifying form, because the injuries he suffered in Season 4 forced his body to completely rebuild itself using the matter of the Upside Down and learn from the attack. Instead of looking like a burned, twisted human, he now looks more like a living creature made of vines, roots, and hardened bark, almost like an evil version of Groot mixed with the Swamp Thing from DC. His new body is stronger, thicker, tougher, taller, and makes normal weapons like guns or fire far less effective against him. The Duffer Brothers explain that this version of Vecna has lost nearly all of his remaining humanity, meaning he no longer thinks or feels in a human way. He has fully merged with the Upside Down, becoming more like its king than a single person. Because of this, his powers grow far beyond minor attacks, as he now can strike in the real world as well, shape the environment, and use the psychic energy of the Upside Down to harm people directly. In Season 5, Vecna is not only smarter and angrier, but also at the peak of his strength, making him the most dangerous version the heroes have ever faced. So Vecna Prime here, I would expect, would be much stronger than 11, maybe even far stronger than what she can become with all her hidden powers unleashed, and this might be on purpose. The creators would want the final season to feel like a huge, desperate battle where the heroes are pushed to their absolute limits. Vecna has rebuilt himself using power from the upside down and no longer has a human body holding him back, so his powers grow in ways 11 has never faced before. 11 is still incredibly powerful, but Vecna now would have the entire upside down fueling him, almost like an army and a planet working as one. This would create a do-or-die situation similar to the Avengers Endgame scenario, where the heroes can't simply rely on strength, and they must rely mostly on teamwork, sacrifice, and sheer luck to win. Making Vecna stronger than everyone combined would raise the stakes and make the final battle feel more meaningful and desperate. Here, victory won't come easily, and some characters may have to pay the ultimate price to stop him. And with that, we come to the end of this video on the different life stages of Vecna from Stranger Things, including his new form. Now do hit that like button for support and that hype option for hyping up the video to other viewers, at least for the ones who see the option. Anyway, also subscribe and we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, fam.